It's an exciting day tomorrow because I am going to get my hair cut. A very warm welcome to the Asia channel. My name is James, and the title, Taiwan's Peaceful Reunification with the CCP. Hence, notice the question mark there. The Chinese Communist Party, or the Chinese PC, political party, or whatever you want to call it, it gets all quite confusing with that way. We have done the rumours of why they call it the CPC and not the CCP. They sort of changed it more of the narrative more than anything else. So there was a civil war right after World War II against, you could say, the People's Republic of China, the Communists, and the Republic of China. The Republic of China lost, and they moved off to Taiwan as the Republic of China. And if you look on the map, it will say ROC, where Taiwan is, Republic of China. So how can the Communist Party of China basically say we have reunification? They can't, because they never controlled Taiwan. I think what the Taiwanese government should do is have a vote, like they did in Scotland, whether Scotland should be independent from the United Kingdom and be its own country. And the majority of the Scottish said, no, we want to be part of the UK, we want to be part of England and Wales as well. And then it was done and dusted. There should be a vote in Taiwan with the Taiwanese people. Do you want to be back with the mainland China? Because once they were before 1949. And again, before 1949, the CCP were not the controlling party, so they can't have the reunification, the peaceful reunification, because they have never controlled Taiwan. And if that vote is honest and true, they can show this to the people in Beijing and say, this is it. Now, we don't want it. We are a country. We don't want to be part of mainland China. And imagine this, here you are in one of the most democratic countries in the world, Taiwan, and you want a big country like China coming in and stepping things over, saying some things, and then completely changing the narrative. Just like Hong Kong. Yep, Hong Kong got handed over to China in 1997. There was an agreement by Margaret Thatcher, the British government, and the leader of China at the time, saying 50 years, one country, two systems. But in the last decade, things all changed, and it was all meant to, or possibly changed in 2047. It was Xi Jinping, the CCP, who said, we're going to move things around. This is why you had the protest movement in 2014, the umbrella movement, and also the one in 2019 related to the national security law. Many of the propagandists would say everything is fine and it's much better now than it was before. But why do so many Hong Kong people want to leave now? There's a question. And that's what worries, you could say, Taiwan. There are some people who look at the Russia-Ukraine incident, where Russia invaded Ukraine way back, is it 2 years ago now? I think it's something like that. And how Ukraine has held on so long. So this is why possibly you could say China is actually saying, well, let's see how this plays out. And if Russia does finally get the victory and the papers signed, then it may be the go-ahead for China just to pop along to Taiwan. But Taiwan has the backing of America. Whether they would actually have boots on the ground, the US soldiers with the boots on the ground stopping the China invasion of Taipei, I don't think so. I think it would be more of a proxy in a way that they would supply the materials which would be needed, and all the other bases, American bases in Asia, you could say in South Korea, in Japan, and in the Philippines, would be helping one way or another there to stop the invasion of a democratic country. Why am I making this video? Well, quite simply, I watch all these channels which are pro-Russia, China, pro-dictatorship, pro-communism, etc., and down with America. Now, let's be really honest. Do we love the government of the countries that we live in? Not really. Do I like the government of the UK? No, not at all. Do I like the new Prime Minister? No. Did I like some Prime Ministers? Yeah, I did. I liked Boris, I liked Margaret Thatcher, I liked, who else? David Cameron in the UK. In the United States, who did I like? Well, you're going to hate me, I know some of you, it was Barack Obama. I thought he was quite cool, but then I wasn't really interested in politics in that way. The Canadian Prime Minister, I see him making constant mistakes. The guy in France, accusations, etc., but maybe I don't follow it, and maybe I don't go into enough details. I'm not going to go into that there, but I do follow things quite a lot in Asia, because this is where I live, and I'm just putting my point of view as a expat living in Southeast Asia related to what's happening in the region with China, etc. So what is the solution? Would China invade? Well, quite recently they have been spending a lot, and I mean billions of dollars, with an upgrade of their military, the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. And they always say peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. What will happen? I think it will just be a stalemate for years and a status quo for years to come. I don't think China is that stupid enough to invade, because they are just going to lose what little they have left of this global alliance. China's world is Russia, North Korea, Iran, Iraq, Yemen, all these countries which are ruled and controlled with a dictatorship. Could you imagine if China was the world leader and the actual money was BRICS or the Chinese yuan? It would be a catastrophe for everyone in the world, most possibly. Now, if you agree or if you disagree, well, leave your comments in the comment section below. It'd be interesting to read some of them, if not all of them. Yeah. I do look at the YouTube videos and they just don't seem to have any logic or common sense before. And I do like the comments that some people get, say, thank you, James, we really like your truth, your honesty, your point of view. It's just common sense, it makes sense. By a lot of these other people who put videos on them, and yeah, they get hundreds of thousands of views, while I get maybe a couple of hundred if I'm lucky, do spout the one-sided argument. And it is one-sided. You very rarely see these people actually interview someone from a different point of view. If they invited me, this is the whole thing, if they invited me, I think I would, I don't know, I may possibly consider it, but I would need a lot of backup from some of my friends who are and have common sense and see the truth, which is coming out of some countries like China. But what they do, these propagandists for China, for example, they scare you. Twice I have left a comment with two people in China. They are expats who live in China. One said, you're stupid, you're a muppet, you're a buffoon, you're a whatever. And the other one says, oh, this guy knows absolutely nothing. And they sort of like do a personal insult to you. And you sort of get scared with that, and you just give them a thumbs down and constantly report them for misinformation, which you can do on YouTube, and I do constantly on these channels, but nothing seems to prevail. But I will persist, and they very rarely would reply to your email or your message, or possibly delete it. But if they do respond, it's a personal insult to you. It's scare tactics, and this is exactly how the CCP runs its country, by terror and by making people scared of them so they just agree. It's like a bully, basically. I did mention earlier what would be the solution to this problem. Well, China's not going to let go of this. They've got their heels into this, and Xi Jinping hasn't been the best leader, really, with COVID-19 and what's happening in the South China Sea, for example. But he wants to not be like, you could say, the old era. It's the same as Putin. Putin doesn't want the Soviet Union, but he wants to go back to the old style of Russia, with ultimate power. So does Xi Jinping. He wants to be that powerful guy, and he wants to be remembered in history for some certain reasons, like the reunification of Taiwan with the CCP. Again, but they've never been together, so how can they be reunified? It just doesn't make sense. But this is the propaganda which is pushed to us. Another thing is that you would see all this you would see this Chinese media on Twitter, X, Facebook, Telegram, channels, etc., etc. But why can't the Americans put stuff into WeChat? Oh, they can't, because they'll be blocked automatically. So the solution? Well, I did see this maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I thought it was quite a good idea. To get the problem solved, here's China, it's one country. Here's Taiwan, it's one country. They are both self-governing. They don't interfere with each other's politics or whatever, business. They just separate it. But it's controlled like a commonwealth, like the Commonwealth of the United Kingdom. But who would be the leader of that commonwealth? For example, Canada is a commonwealth of the United Kingdom. The king is the actual so-called ruler, but he does this in a royal way. He doesn't get involved in the politics, but the politicians or the prime minister would go and see the king at least once a week for an update, and they can seek advice from a guy or a gentleman who is like 70 years old and been involved in the royal family obviously all his life. Would that work? It's a possibility, but I don't think in my lifetime I will see China reunified with Taiwan, or the CCP reunified with the Republic of China. I don't think it will happen. I think it will just linger on and on and on, and the status quo. The people in Taiwan, they just get on with their daily lives, the same as the people in China. If you ask people in Taiwan, is Taiwan part of China? A high percentage would say no. But if you make that official and ask the people of Taiwan, would you like China to be part, or Taiwan to be part? The two countries brought together again, but not under the CCP. I would say a high percentage would say no, because they have the most democratic country in, you could say, Asia. I am waffling on a little bit now, but I would love to hear your points of view. I would love to hear from anyone in Taiwan. I would love to hear some points of view from people in China who are illegally using a VPN so they can access YouTube, and from all around the world. I would like to hear from some of the propagandists who support the CCP, who support Putin, who support Hamas or Hezbollah, whatever the name. Maybe I am brainwashed by Western media or Western politics, but I do analyze things, and I am quite a sensible gentleman. That you can agree or disagree with. If you do leave a comment, don't call me something stupid or a clown. Constructive criticism where we can all share and we can agree or disagree, but we can accept each other's point of view. Thank you for your time. My name is James. I hope you have a blessed day. For everyone, bye-bye for now.